Hello, am I audible?
Hi, how are
Yeah,
you?
I'm pretty good, Anastasia. What about you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Is it Janelle?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Okay, Janelle, how do I say your last name?
It's Vyas. Vyas.
Janelle Vias. Okay, nice to meet you, Janelle.
Likewise, likewise. And first of all, a warm welcome to my podcast, Anastasia. It's like I'm really elated to have you here today. And
Thank you.
I want to tell my viewers that Anastasia, she's a certified, you are into mental health advocate, and you're
Uh-huh.
also, I guess, life coach. Um,
I I'm a licensed professional counselor, and so yes, I help people with their mental health and just helping them to make sure that they have a positive mental health.
Makes sense. And like in today's world, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like when it comes to mental health, it's depleting day by day. People are facing a lot of mental health issues. So, what do you think the reasons are?
Oh, well, I think it's a lot of different reasons. I think that, I think social media and, just being disconnected in that way, is not helpful. I think a lot happened after COVID. I think, there was a lot of disconnection. Kids stopped going to school and started doing everything, from home in a virtual setting. Then you add, like I said, the social media to that, and they're not getting the social skills and social interactions that we need with people. And that's a big part of having a healthy mental health is connections and socializing and relationships. I think that I mean, I could go down a whole rabbit hole, but with the social media, if with the way the algorithms work, if all you're watching is constant, depending on, what your feed is taking you into, it's just, I mean, a constant cycle. And then our thoughts, I don't know if you know this, but our thoughts affect our feelings affect our behavior, and it's a constant cycle. So depending on what we're playing in our mind over and over and over, it's going to have a major impact on how we feel and then what we do. Um, I think that's a big part of what you're seeing with mental health. Um, I'm in the US, and so there's a whole lot going on over here that I think, oh, it's a lot. It's a lot. And then, it could, I mean, genetics too, depending on what the family history is and what, if there are any mental illnesses down the family line, that can also affect your mental health and wellness.
Yes. And so, how can we overcome it? Like if you have to give some advice, what are the solutions for it?
So, I would say that a way that we can care for our mind is through, our daily habits. Number one would be noticing any patterns within your family history, right? And if you are noticing that, maybe your parents have anxiety or there's been a history with depression, and then you start noticing maybe symptoms of that, you definitely would want to check in to kind of like whenever we go to the doctor and get a physical checkup, right? It would be positive to just go get a mental health checkup, just to check in, just to, kind of see if we're on the right track, if we have healthy habits, what we're doing to take care of our brain. What I like to tell my clients are, ways that we can care for our mind are, like I said, spending time with family and friends, right? So relationships, making sure that we're eating healthy, right? Choosing nutritious foods to fuel our minds, getting a good night's sleep, And so that means depending on your age, right? I mean, depending on your age, some need, I think it's 9 to 11 hours of sleep. As we get older, that changes to I think 6 to 9 hours of sleep. My happy spot is 8 hours. So I know that I need 8 hours of sleep every night so that I can be my best the next day. When I don't get my sleep, I'm already a slow processor, so I'm just extra slow when I don't get my sleep and a little grumpy, maybe a little crabby and extra snappy with people. So we have relationships, we have eating healthy, sleeping, getting a good night's sleep. Another one is making sure you're taking time to relax, right? Whatever that looks like, whether it, might be, I mean, I like to do puzzles. I just think it's a relaxing activity. I find it hard to relax. And so that's something that I found kind of challenges me and keeps me in one spot. And then there's one more. I'm trying to think. We said relationships, food, um, exercise, the big one. Yes, exercise. So exercise, and that's something I'm very passionate about. Um, and I didn't find this out till I was in my 30s. Exercise is so important for our brain. When we exercise, it releases all the dopamine, and dopamine helps you to feel motivated. I don't know if you know that, but dopamine is what controls motivation. And so whenever we exercise, yes, we get more motivated, we get more inspired, it boosts our mood. And so, making sure that we are applying those healthy habits into our daily life is very important.
In the light of what you're saying, Anastasia, like dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and endorphins. And I guess endorphins are the hormones, the highest level of hormones that can get released once you do certain kinds of exercise. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, that's true. I've mentioned whenever I was 30, I was working full time. I was a teacher. I was a second grade teacher,
yeah,
and I
you
was
are
working.
educated as well. Yeah.
Yes, And I had little children, maybe between the ages of 5 and 10 at the time. And I can remember coming home every day and just being completely exhausted, like getting
Mhm.
off work and just plopping on the bed. I just didn't have energy for anything. And I'll never forget thinking to myself one day, okay, this is not normal. Like I'm 30. Yes, I'm getting up there, but not to where I shouldn't have any energy at night. And I'll never forget I had a friend who was doing this little boot camp after school every day. And I told her, I think I need to try it. I hear people saying that when you exercise, you have more energy. Never believed it. I thought that was a big, just a complete lie. Like, how do you have more energy after you've just exercised? But so my friend said, yeah, why don't you come try it out? I will never forget. I went to that boot camp, did an hour, and that evening when I got home, I was cooking, I was doing laundry, I was cleaning. It was so clear to me that that is what I need to be doing for myself. And ever since then, I mean, I've gone through periods of not, you kind of get into little slumps, but even in those little slumps, I know now, okay, I don't feel my best here. I'm more agitated, I'm more tired, I'm just not my best. I need to go and make sure I'm getting my exercise in.
Not sure whether you know it or not, Anastasia. Like I'm a full-time English teacher and a
Hmm.
part-time yoga trainer. So I'm also an advocate of exercise. I've been doing it for like a lot of years now. And just like you, I don't feel like, myself, like the best version of myself if I don't do exercise. So it's a bit tough,
Hmm.
exercise. And yeah, I'm into yoga. I'm into like weightlifting. So I want to know like what kind of exercise do you like to do?
Okay. So, people laugh whenever I tell them, I don't have a certain routine. I have like my six machines that I just rotate through every time I go. So I
Hmm.
like to go on walks. I don't run because I don't like to run. And, I've also heard that it's really bad on your knees as you get older. So that's kind of like what I tell myself. It's okay because it's just bad on your knees. But I like to walk fast, maybe 3.5 on the treadmill. And
Wow.
then I rotate through like six different machines, trying to work my arms, my leg muscles. Um, but you mentioned strength training. I heard once on a podcast, Diary of a CEO. I don't know if you
Yeah.
watched that one. Oh, I watch that like every morning.
Wow.
But there was a guest on there, and he was talking about like our thigh muscles. I don't even know what you call
Yeah,
those,
that's
but
right. That's right.
yes,
It's
and
easy
how
to see.
important. Yes, it is to, he was showing a picture. It was a steak. It looked like a steak, but it was the thigh muscle, right? Looking at it, like if you're, I don't know, kind of if you cut it into a steak slice. And it was a little bone and then all the muscle around. And he was saying that he showed a picture of someone who was like 18 and then another person who was like 70, maybe 75, with the same amount of muscle thickness. And he was saying that no matter your age, if you are consistent and keep up with it, that you can keep your muscles nice and healthy. And then he was talking about how important it is to keep your muscles strengthened because as we get older, when people get old and they fall, your muscles are what acts as a shock system to keep from breaks. And what breaks lead to eventually is not good. But so yeah, strength training, yoga. You said that you do yoga. I think yoga is that was something that was very challenging for me because like I mentioned, it's hard for me to relax and sit still. And so yoga, um, you have to relax in order to do it. And that can be hard if you're someone who finds that difficult. But I tried it at the gym a couple times, did not find it effective because I just kept hearing the sounds of weights and people grunting, and oh, it was just awful. But I went on a trip to Jamaica with my team that I previously worked with at Heart to Heart Counseling. And we had yoga on the beach every morning. It was the most peaceful, relaxing. That's where I really saw, wow, the benefits of yoga, right? But I learned that you have to have a certain environment and a certain, quietness in order to really engage and really focus and really be able to be present in that moment. So I'm guessing that you said you do yoga. Do you do yoga every morning and you teach it? Where do you teach it at? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I used to teach to children, but now
Hmm.
I'm like doing self-practice because I have to
Okay.
go to school. But over there, I used to train people like the children. So with them, I used to do it. Like children are like not children, but teenagers. I would say that teenagers.
That's wonderful. That's a wonderful practice to get them into, right? Because then again, it's hitting the relaxation.
Definitely,
Hmm.
definitely. And if it makes you feel any better, Anastasia, like if you ever wish to do yoga on weekends, we can do together. I'll help.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
That would definitely be something
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, so we can do it together. And here, also the thing that you mentioned about bones, like even lifting weights, like any weights, once you cross the age of 30, the bone density, it starts, I guess, decreasing. So for the sake of that also, specifically women, they have to, if they lift weights, it can be really good for their bones as well, bones and muscles.
Oh, yes. Yes, to try to prevent against like osteoporosis,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I'm
Yeah.
also a big advocate of taking ice baths and cold showers. It
Oh, yes.
yeah, it helps me, immensely with recovery, I guess, when I do intense workout.
Yes, I've heard that. I've
Yeah,
heard yes, and that it just like increases your mood too.
yeah. And you are like,
I'm not that brave yet. I haven't got to that point, but I've heard that there's just so many amazing benefits to it.
I do admire your honesty, like you are saying it, and it's a good thing that you're admitting it. You're still trying to do it. It's a good,
Oh, it's
commendable.
a process for
Yeah,
sure.
definitely. Definitely.
hmm
And, well, yeah. And what about what's your take on it, Anastasia, about caffeine, coffee?
Oh, well. I don't drink coffee just because caffeine, I don't know, it gets me a little too wired and too anxious, and I don't like that feeling. Um, and I really haven't done enough research on caffeine. I know, obviously I have children, well, teenagers now, and I don't like them to drink what are those called? Energy drinks. I don't like them because
Uh,
I've heard so many stories about, too much caffeine and the negative side effects to it. However, they've talked me into Alani's. They're like, Mom, look, they're a little healthier. It's less caffeine, a little less sugar. It's the healthy version. So they think by telling me healthy that I'm gonna be like, okay. And I guess it worked because I'm like, okay, you can have one before your softball games. That's fine. I'm just not big on caffeine. I just feel like it can be too much, and then you have to build up, tolerance to feel the effects. Um, but I know that it helps some people to, be productive in their day as well. I think balance,
yeah,
just like with
moderation.
anything, balance is important, not too much, not too little. If you can keep it managed and under control, then I think you're okay.
Definitely. And also, a lot of people they also recommend reading books. Reading can rewire your brain. It can generate or like when it comes to reading, it like I'm not sure. I read it somewhere that it can make certain kind of chemicals inside your brain, which is really good for your brain health. So I want to know,
hmm
are you a reader or do you recommend your clients to read something like that?
So I actually used to be a reading teacher. I taught
Nice.
second grade for about 8 years at the elementary school. And I think reading is powerful. I taught children, so when they would come to me, they had just finished first grade, like learning how to read. And so we were in the transition of now, not just learning how to read, but now taking it to the next level, really comprehending what it is that you're reading and making connections to what you're reading, making inferences, making connections, gathering main ideas, those types of things. And I always encouraged my students and families, to have your children read at least 30 minutes every night, not only just to expand their mind, expand their knowledge of the world around them, but like you said, just building that cognitive muscle,
Mhm.
right? Um, you even think as we get older, we have to constantly build that muscle because if you don't use it, what happens? We lose it. And
Definitely.
so, absolutely, yes. As far as myself, I've always struggled with reading. I've always, like I told you, it's hard for me to relax and it's hard for me to sit still. And so, reading has always been a challenge because, well, two reasons. I used to read and be thinking about 1,500 other things, right? So I could never channel my thinking here. Eventually I learned how to, force myself to read whenever I went to college and realized, oh, okay, they want me to read this whole chapter and come back and know, the information the next day. And so I can remember sitting there and like having to train myself, like sentence by sentence. What did I just read? What did I just read? And that helped me as a teacher, right? Because I had students who would be thinking about other things, so I was able to teach them, no, guys, we're not thinking about Whataburger, we're not thinking about our friends right now, we're thinking about what the words are saying. And so to this day, I believe, I don't know if this is true. I don't even know if there's research on it or anything, but when I try to read, my eyes get sleepy in the first like 5 minutes. It's the weirdest thing. And what I think, I don't know, but I think that it's maybe because I haven't really built those eye muscles to read because, I've always struggled with it. And so it just puts me to sleep 5 minutes into it. So what I like is I like to listen to a lot of podcasts. I've found that that's a really helpful way for me to get information and to get, knowledge in different areas. I don't do audiobooks. Usually I just do YouTube, kind of like you've got going, and I like to, find different things that I'm interested in. A lot of times it is on like mental health and our brains and our minds and relationships with people and those types of topics. Um, but yeah, that's really helpful for me. And so a lot of times I recommend different podcasts and things to clients. Like I shared, I really like Diary of a CEO because kind of like what you're doing, he gets different people who specialize in different areas to just come and have a conversation. And I think that, it's a wonderful way to get people engaged and to get people learning and to get people just connecting.
Yeah. And by the way, do you listen to that one, Mel Robbins podcast?
I don't. Who is it?
Mel Robbins,
Oh,
Anastasia.
Mel Robbins. Yes, I have listened. Mm-hmm. Yep. I think she has the book, what is it called?
It's on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, uh,
Let Them. Is it called Let Them?
yeah, let them, yeah, let them, yeah, let them.
Yes, I just recommended that, and I haven't read it, but I've listened to her on her podcast talking about it, and so I recommended that to one of my clients who, wanted something to read that could help her deal with some different anxieties that she was struggling with. And she said that, she's enjoying the book. I haven't read it. I've listened to her podcast. But yeah, I just think there's so many different resources out there, and absolutely reading is very important. I wish I could be better at it.
And if I ask you, like, in terms of USA, I know the situation over there. So, being a health advocate, how do you keep your mental health in check, Anastasia?
Oh, yes. So, I learned years ago that, I'm not big into politics, right? I don't like conflict. I just think everybody needs to figure it out and learn how to get along with each other and do what's best for, society as a whole. So I don't like politics. I don't like the news because I'm a very empathetic person and I feel everything so deeply. When I watch the news, I'm either crying or I'm frustrated or I'm angry. And I noticed years ago that I have to limit that for myself. And so, I make sure that, I'll catch up to make sure that I'm informed, maybe 10 minutes a day, but I cannot go any longer than that because I notice that then my mind starts going and then I'm feeling all these things because my mind has got all these thoughts in here. And to keep myself my best, I minimize news, I minimize politics. It's too much. And I've noticed it's not healthy for me.
Definitely. I completely see eye to eye, Anastasia. Like a lot of mental health advocate, they often tell that stay away from the news because if I call a spade, I feel like most of the time the news are negative, and that's how they get popularity. Go on, like we hardly ever get the chance to see something positive on news. So I guess if we try to stay away from it, well, it might be good thing for us. I always
Absolutely.
my father is really into like news. He watches it all the time, and I tell him it's a really futile thing. Why are you wasting your time like that? And then he gets crappy sometimes. after watching news, or he is not able to sleep at night. So yeah, he suffers from things like that.
And again, because it's what's playing in his mind, right?
Yeah.
If it's constant, 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 it's going to affect how he feels. Like you said, he starts to feel crappy because he's been watching crappy stuff all day. And then he might start to have crappy behavior, right? Or just doing things that are, maybe not wanting to go out and go do anything at the stores because he's so nervous. Like, what if something happens, right? I see a lot of people who have anxiety that'll come to my office and they're, worried about even going out to do errands, or they're worried about, something happening at the schools, or, just different things. And it's because if that's all you're watching, and then that goes into even like parenting, right? Whenever we're talking about children or teens or kids, is that if they're hearing that constantly from parents, and well, parents, they're not meaning to pass down that anxiety, but it happens. I mean, I struggle, right? Since I was young, there's always been like anxiety around like finances, right? I've just always been that way. And so without meaning to, I've noticed like I've put that onto like I have a son who's 21, and I notice is very anxious when it comes to finances and money. And I know it's because I didn't intentionally do it, but I passed it down. And so that's where I think we can just be mindful about those things as parents, and try to make different habits, and save some time for worrying to ourselves, because again, we pass it down unknowingly, and I think we just got to be a little more mindful in that area, myself included. So
Speaking of parents, Anastasia, I often see, as I'm a teacher, I often see that parents, they want their children to be, jack of all trades. And so because of that, the child is always compelled to pursue one thing after another. He's never able to rest on his laurels. Like they want him to do extracurricular activities. They want him to excel in studies. So is that a good thing?
I think yes, but you have to have balance with it, right?
Okay.
So, yes, it's important to do your best in your studies and in your work. Make time for positive study habits, but I don't think it should be your whole life, right? You have to make time for family and friends and connection, right? And just have a healthy balance. I know I've also seen where some parents will just overload their child with activities, right? From tutoring to basketball to then track and to all the different things in a week. And it's just overwhelming. And so, yeah, I think that yes, you make time to grow in those areas, especially, our education, that's very important. But it can't be all consuming. Like, we need breaks. We need to have time to be creative. We need to have time to rest. We need to have time to just enjoy our family and the people around us. Hmm.
And again, in the light of what you are saying, Anastasia, like how do you take the breaks? Like how do you stop yourself from reaching the point of feeling burnout?
I think adjusting the schedule to make sure that I include time for my exercise. My exercise is what's important to me. And so I make sure that I don't get to do it as much during the week, but Friday, Saturday, and Sunday mornings, I make sure I have my gym time. I'm now starting to do morning walks before I get the day started. And so I know that that's going to be even more helpful because I wasn't doing that for a while. Um, I had just overloaded my schedule to where I was burning myself out, working from sunup to sundown. Um, and so now I'm having to get back on track. And I'm now balancing my schedule to work every day versus Monday through Thursday. So, well, let me go back. So, I was on a Monday through Thursday schedule with Fridays as my self-care days. And I would get my exercise, my errands, all of those things done on Friday. But I was killing myself Monday through Thursday. I mean, 8:30 all the way until 7 o'clock in the evenings. And so when you do that 4 days a week, at first it's okay, but it really starts to take a toll on you and burn yourself out. I'm also the type of person like I have to experience things to learn. No matter how many times you tell me, I've just always been that way. It's not great, because it makes life a little more challenging. However, I've just noticed that about myself since I was young. So I just experienced what burnout feels like. And now I'm learning to adjust my schedule so that I do not do that to myself. Yep.
The same thing you had with your exercise also. Like people were telling you, but you had to experience it firsthand, and then you.
Oh, absolutely. When they would tell me, I would think like, you are lying. There is no way. There is no way that I'm gonna have energy after I just do all of that to myself. Yeah. Oh, I could give you so many examples.
And being a health advocate, what is something that you know, but people in general are naive about? Some kind of things that can make their lives better.
Hmm. I mean, I hate to go back to it, but I think exercise.
Mm.
Exercise is a big part, and just doing those things to the different strategies that I mentioned or different areas that I mentioned to really care for our minds, right? Again, our food, what we eat, what we drink, the time we take to exercise and relax and spend with loved ones, and getting a good night's sleep. I think all of those things are just so important. And if you notice yourself struggling, thinking about those different areas, doing a little check-in with yourself. Am I doing my best in each of those areas? And then if not, adjust. See what you can do to incorporate more time to that.
Okay. And speaking of time, I guess we still have 8 minutes, so I want to use that 8 minutes.
Mhm.
Anastasia, when it comes to food, like in India, people are bonkers about fast food. So is it the same in the US as well?
Oh, so I think in the US, it's just convenient, right?
Yeah.
I like healthy food. I've always not because it's healthy, but just because I've always loved fruits and vegetables, and so I just naturally I
Wow.
enjoy
That's a
healthy
good
food.
thing. Nice.
Yeah, and so however, it's convenient to just, especially if you've had a long day and you don't have dinner planned, going through Chick-fil-A or a different place to just grab something convenient.
Nice.
Um, However, again, that's not what's healthy for your body. Those foods are just, I mean, they're filled with horrible things for your body. And so again, we have to figure out ways to be better, right? Be more balanced and try to get our bodies healthy nutrients. But yes, there's fast food everywhere, everywhere. You said India has a lot of fast food too?
Yeah, people are into that. Like,
Yes.
yeah. But the thing is, in India, a lot of like I have my mom and she's a homemaker. So in India, a lot of women are homemakers and they cook delicious food. There's no doubt about that. But however, like people like teenagers, they like to consume outside food. So that's a big issue.
Yes, I had a dad. I was counseling a family, and the dad was from India,
Oh,
and so he grew up. Him and the wife, they grew up in India, where you could tell that healthy, nutritious, home cooked meals were so important to him.
yeah,
But he was struggling because his teenagers, they grew up here and they just wanted to go out to eat, out to eat, out to eat.
yeah,
And it really was so bothersome for him. And so he started to get into a routine where he would, prep on Sundays and he would get all the ingredients and make meals for the week. And he just felt so accomplished. You could tell that it made him feel good to be able to take that time to cook for his family. Um, but that was something that really bothered him was the teenagers and the fast food. And I can relate because I have teenagers who always want fast food. But again, I think it's just taking the time to do it, being intentional, taking the time to do it, and then trying to pass those habits down to our kids so that they can make healthier food choices.
Apart from hitting the gym and doing puzzles, do you do anything else just to wind down, Anastasia? Be it like watching something, movies or series?
I don't watch TV. I'm not really interested in a lot of TV. And again, it's just hard for me to just sit. I like to do puzzles. I figured that out maybe 6, 7 years ago now, probably 7 years ago now, that it just helps me to relax and calm myself. I love music. Music has always been a big part of my life.
Yeah.
And that is something that helps me to relax. So I like to play my music and do my little puzzles, exercise when I can, get out for a walk. I just started playing pickleball. It's not very relaxing, but again, I think because all of my movement, it's relaxing for me here, right? Because I'm getting to move my body and I'm getting to do something other than work. So pickleballs. Have you ever played pickleball?
No, but a lot of my friends are into that, so I'm gonna give it a try. Yeah, give it a shot.
Oh, you gotta try it. It's so much fun. It's easy. Like, I don't know if you're very athletic. Are you athletic or not really?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. So I don't have an athletic bone in my body. And so whenever we started playing pickleball, oh, it was so much fun because it's easy. And I'm not competitive at all. I just want everybody to have a good time. And so, oh, it's just such a fun game. It's easy. Like, if I can do it, anyone can do it. So much fun.
Okay. And on that note, Anastasia, I guess let's call it a day. Thank you for your precious time, for your sagacious advice. And I would love to have you one more time on my podcast in the future. Until then, take care.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much. And it was so nice to meet you, Janelle.
Likewise, the feeling is mutual. Anastasia, take care.
Okay, have a good day.